Hi guys. Okay, so the first thing, guys, I'm going to start away there now, and people come in a bit later, that's fine. This webinar today is 45 minutes, so I'm going to do my very best to stick to the time. I always say that, but I really will do my best today to stick to the time, and any follow-up questions at any stage can be answered at a later stage. So, welcome everybody. My own name is Kate. I know a lot of you already, but I'm delighted to have a couple of new, fresh faces here today as well. And today we're going to be looking at how to set up an online business. Now, I suppose the information might be relevant to different types of people because I'm not sure where you are in the process of setting up an online business. Have you tried? Are you qualified? Do you have experience? So feel free to write into the chat box what you would like to get out of this webinar. What are your goals with it? What kind of questions are you looking to have answered? Because I suppose I will start from the beginning, but that does depend on what kind of qualifications you have and everything like that. And if you've started your TEFL course, if you haven't, so feel free to write your kind of story in there at any stage. And we will leave time at the end for a Q&A session where I will go through your questions. But if there's anything in the meantime that kind of pops into your head, just put it into the chat box. And if I see it, I'll get to it. And if not, I'll be sure to answer it at the end. Okay. Great, so we have 40 people here today, which is fantastic. Okay, Megan, just a few things there. Okay, suggestions for building a website and good platforms, lovely. And billing and PayPal, okay. Okay, struggling with a name for my company, okay, great. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to start and give you a little bit of a background of myself, and I am sorry for people who've heard this a million times, but I will go kind of more into the online teaching part, okay? So I suppose my own background is I've been teaching TEFL myself for 7 years. I did a 120-hour TEFL course in 2013, and I did a kind of a placement as part of my college back then in Malta, and I decided to kind of take the career and kind of go with TEFL. So I ended up doing a CELTA course then in 2014 when I got back from Malta, and between 2014 and about 2017, I spent time teaching in various countries in language schools, so in the classroom. So in Malta, Germany, Istanbul, and here in Ireland, I've worked in language schools in Cork and in Galway. But yeah, I was in the classroom essentially. In 2015, I actually hadn't heard of it before, but teaching English online was kind of up and coming. And I had a couple of students. For example, I would be teaching in Malta, and I'd have a couple of students who do their 12-week course in Malta, and then there was time for them to go home. So they might say to me, do you know, would you mind continuing our lessons online via Skype? I actually don't even think there was Zoom at the time, but they said, would you mind doing lessons online? I said, okay, that sounds kind of weird, but yeah, I will. And I ended up doing things like that, and they just kind of pay into my bank account, very casual, nothing kind of set in stone or structured. So I began to do those type of lessons, and eventually then I decided to actually get work with another online company. So they were called Fluentify, and they were my first online kind of job, online company job, and I worked with them for a year. Then I realized, why am I working for someone else when I only get a profit of the lesson? So I decided to start up my own little teaching business online, which I still run to this day, and absolutely love it. Yeah, I do it in the evenings, in the mornings, at the weekends, anytime I get a kind of spare chance, to be honest with you. And I've now actually started kind of targeting and kind of changing the niche to kind of corporate English and targeting kind of bigger companies and things like that. So it's kind of evolved as we went on. But I will go back to how I started this company and how relatively easy it is to do. A lot of you, I suppose, might have money to invest in your startup and mightn't have money. So I'm going to kind of run through both. I didn't have money at the time to do it, but if you do have, like, I don't know, 500, a couple of hundred, 500 to €1,000 to put into it, it will benefit you. If you don't, it'll be a bit of a slower start, but that's okay. So that's where I am now. And yes, so with my online business, I've traveled to 25 countries around the world between 2017 and 2018. I just went traveling around the world, just teaching my lessons and running my business in 25 countries, South America, Fiji, Bali, New Zealand, Australia, and here in Ireland. So yeah, that's why I would say definitely go for it. It's a fantastic career choice. And most importantly for me, and it always has been, why I do it is the freedom of teaching where you want and the flexibility. You can be anywhere in the world and you can do it. So it's fantastic. Okay, a quick kind of a little background, I suppose, about what teaching English online is and about the market of teaching English online, because I think it's important to understand that before you go into it. So as we know, teaching English online, if actually anybody could put into the chat box and let me know how many, if they're working for a current company, just let me know, is anybody kind of working for an online tutoring company now? That'd be great to know. So yeah, lessons can be done one-to-one or group classes. I'm sure as many of you know, you've probably already done all of you have done your TEFL training, but there's different kind of specialist areas, like there's business English, there's exam English, IELTS, TOEIC, there's young learners. And what I will say here is that the more specialist courses you have and the more areas you're trained in, definitely worthwhile, because for example, I can charge so much more for a business lesson than I would for a general conversational lesson, or I can charge a lot more for exam preparation English than I would for like a general. So the more specialist training you have, the more qualified you are in those specialist areas, the better. And it gives your business more variety. You're not just coming up onto a platform that just has talking, like general English conversation. By giving these little extra kind of courses, you will be able to charge more and just give more variety and things like that. I will pop into the chat box here my own website so you can have a look at some stage, but I do offer 4 types of lessons. So I offer general English, I offer premium general English, which I charge more for. I offer business English lessons, which I charge more for. And then I charge exam preparation lessons, which I charge even more for. So that's a top tiered lesson. And the reason I would charge more for those different areas was because obviously you have to put a bit more work into your time, I suppose, your lessons, because if you're doing exam preparation lessons or premium English lessons, you would be doing kind of extra work outside the 30-minute lesson. Okay, you'd be doing like homework, preparing lesson plans, all those type of things. So that's why you can do that. Over the last year, as everybody has known, there has been an absolute massive increase in the online teaching market. In a weird kind of way, it's been a blessing for me, because it's just, there's so much work and so much students, and it's been excellent for me in my niche, in my business. So yeah, it's a great time to get on board. In 2010, online teaching was a $32 billion industry. In 2015, it was a $108 billion industry, and it's actually projected in 2025 that it'll be a $325 industry, business, or billion, sorry. So it's an excellent time to jump on board now. And I suppose a lot of you are thinking, with the pandemic and kind of restrictions, please God, sort of easing, will it fall again? Will the market fall? Will people start wanting to go to language schools again and things like that? And would there be, not a point, but would there be as much business as there was this year? Absolutely, yes. What I have found is that people are learning now that they don't have to travel and pay for everything else that comes with it, with learning English, and it's just as effective as going to a school. So I think it's actually the way forward. As you probably know yourselves, all masters courses in any college, in any university, are going online now. People aren't going back. People are like, no, I'm not going back to school, I'm not going back to the office. People are happy remote. So I just feel like it's going up, and there'll be more of a work-life balance kind of mentality with people. So it's a great time to jump on board with it, definitely, and get started with creating your own business. Okay. The next question I suppose people are thinking is, am I qualified to start my own company and teach English online? So the beauty of starting your own business online is that you qualify yourself and you just tell yourself you're eligible, because nobody is going to be checking anything for you or checking, do you have a degree? I suppose working with online tutoring companies, you do have to meet certain requirements. And what I love about kind of doing your own thing and starting your own business is it's up to you. You know, you're your own eligibility, which is fantastic. So I suppose contrary to what a lot of people think, you actually don't need a teaching degree. Um, if you've done your TEFL and you have a good knowledge of how to teach English, that's actually all you need. Be able to use YouTube, be able to use those kind of a bit computer literate and those type of things, and that'll get you going. Again, being a good teacher, that's something that has to be involved with this, because you might have lots of people come to your website and join your company and everything like that, but if you're not likable or you don't have a good energy, then it's not going to work. So being, unless you're behind and you're the puppet master and you hire people and things like that, but normally with starting an online business, it is yourself essentially doing a lot of the work. It was me doing a lot of my own work. I was customer care and I was operations and I was the finance team and I was the teacher at the start of my journey with starting my own online business, and I was doing everything. And I do feel like if you don't have money behind you, that's you will be doing everything. So it's important to kind of have the good personality and everything like that as well. Okay, so we'll start off with talking about how to set up your own business. I'm just going to read through a few of comments here just in case I don't move on here. Okay, great. So there's some of you working for tutoring companies already. Great. Engu, Wales, Cambly. Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. That's great. I'll go through some of those questions at a later stage, but I'm going to kind of go through what I have here first. Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. The first thing I would do, and a number one step, is I would actually always, if you haven't signed up to, I know a lot of you might be thinking, I'm just going to go straight into my own thing and start my own lessons. Why would I bother signing up with another company and wasting my time with interviews and all that kind of thing? I would highly recommend signing up to another company. Okay, so get a job with Cambly, get a job with iTutor, get a job with Wales English. Even if it's one lesson a week you get, it's a great way of finding out how the process works. Okay, it's a great way of being on the other end of it. You're learning as you go, right? You're getting the emails, you're seeing the system, you're seeing the payment system. So by you kind of being a teacher on another platform, you learn so much. So that's one thing I would recommend. And if you're already staying with a tutor, if you're already teaching with an online company now, I would suggest staying with them and working simultaneously while you set up your business. Because all you can do is learn as you go. Learn from who you're working with, you know, see the system, see how they go, and it will really benefit you. Prices, you know, stalk your competition, see how much they charge. Do they get materials? Do they get curriculum? Will you do that in your business? You know, do you think the prices are fair? Do you think you can charge more? Do you think people would pay more? So it gives you a chance to do a bit of market research, a bit of stalking other competition, and really learning the processes of what's involved in an online language company. Okay, I worked with, when I was setting up Everywhere English, for the first year, I was working with Fluentify the whole time. So I was doing my Everywhere English, gathering a student database slowly, but I was still always working with Fluentify for the first year until I was confident enough to kind of say, okay, I've built a base here, and I'm kind of happy to go off and feel okay to give up the other online company. Okay. The next thing, if we start from zero, okay, none of us have money to set up here. So what am I going to do? How am I going to set up? The first thing I would do, and the first way I would start out, is if you're not somebody who's tech savvy enough to build a website and it's just completely alien to you, then start up with creating a social media presence. Okay. Everybody can set up a Facebook business for free. Everybody can set up a LinkedIn business for free. Everybody can set up an Instagram for free. Build a social media presence, and build a business page. Okay, there are so many free resources now on Facebook and LinkedIn for businesses, and the help they give you is insane. So do that. Set up your own business. Of course, come up with your business name, a Skype or a Zoom account. If you don't have the software yourself, the next thing you're going to have to know is, how am I going to deliver these lessons? Okay, so you have to do it. I personally use Zoom. It's up to yourself, but Skype and Zoom are the best ways to do it. And at the start, all you have to do is have your own Zoom business account again. Again, it's all free for your first type of when you're starting out. Email, get a professional email. G Suite for the month, I think, is €7 if you want, for example, a Kate at everywhereenglish.eu, or whatever your domain, whatever your company name is. It is about €7 a month for G Suite. If you want a free Gmail and you don't want to pay €7 a month, you can start off with kate.everywhereenglish@gmail.com. That's actually free. That email address, you can get that all on Google for free. But I would start up, don't be emailing people or outreaching students or anything like that through your own personal. It just doesn't look great. It doesn't look professional. And for an email that you can get for free, why not start on Gmail? Okay. Create a Google Drive account with your Gmail that you have set up with your email, and store everything there, guys. And really build it like it's professional for the start. You might feel like, what's the point of me doing all this really formal stuff when I only have one student? Okay, but starting, it's like start as you mean to go on. Every time you do a lesson, every time you do a student analysis, every time you do something, store it on your drive so you can recycle everything all the time. You'll be so happy that you'll have that information on your Google Drive connected to your professional Gmail account that you can always go back and look at the stage. Okay. The next thing I would say is, you do kind of have to think, you'll have to do a bit of reflection and thinking of this. And as I said, if you kind of do a bit of stalking with other online competition and tutoring companies, think of what kind of brand and purpose and vibe you want to go with. Do you want to go business-like? Do you want to do corporate lessons? Do you want to do general English, just like a conversational website? So then again, your language is going to be a little more fun when you're kind of researching market and things like that. I would look back and kind of ask yourself, what lessons do you enjoy teaching the most, and what would you find easiest? If money is an aspect for you, is a factor for you, because obviously by doing the business English and the exam preparations, you can charge more. But think of a brand, a purpose, a vibe. Think of your company name, and think of a logo. Everybody can afford to put in €50 to create. There's a great website, and I'm going to give it to you here. And it's called, you probably have heard about it before, but it's Fiverr. I don't know, has anybody heard of that? But it's fiverr.com, and it's absolutely fantastic, unreal. It's my favorite website of all time, and it's basically freelancers that will do jobs like this for you at a very, very cheap rate. Okay, so you can get somebody working for you to create your logo for you in 24 hours for 30-40 euro. Okay, it's unreal. So what I would do first, my first call of action, is get your social brand before you even think about a website. Get your presence established. Know what you want to be, know what kind of vibe you want to be, what niche you want to target, and think about that. Company name and logo, right? The only thing you'll have to pay for here so far is your logo, which will cost you nothing on Fiverr and well worth investing in. So then you have your logo built. Okay, you're going to get it off a freelancer in Fiverr. Then you're going to change your profile pictures on Facebook, LinkedIn, your Skype account, your email account, and you're going to put your logo as your profile picture on all these accounts. So it's consistent the whole way throughout, you know, when you have the same kind of brand going. The next thing I would do then, so you've done your brand, your purpose, your vibe, that's great. So how do I actually bring the students to me? You're probably thinking, how do I get students? I have a great presence here now, but I have no students to actually get. So the first thing you can think about is organic marketing. Okay, and what I mean by that is reach out. You'd be surprised at how many non-native speakers you might know, and it might sound a bit silly, but really start small. And there's probably a lot of non-native speaker students that you know, and let them know on your own social media. Tell people you're doing this. Tell people that you have a platform that non-native speakers can go to, and would you mind spreading the word? The power of social media nowadays is insane. Everybody, like, follow, share my page, that whole thing. It's massive, and you can get a lot of help from your own circle first. That's something I would do first before you put any money into marketing. Try and get your own circle, your own friends and family, your own social media platforms. If you have friends who might work in a big company with loads of non-native speakers, say you have friends who work in Apple, Dell, LinkedIn, all this kind of thing, say, would you mind sharing with your colleagues and let them know that I'm starting an online English thing? Okay, it's really powerful, and people don't use it as much as they can, but it is really a powerful way to do it. So start organically, start small, and try and build people on that way. Think about as well, in your local area, if you have any schools, businesses that have non-native students, okay, market them. Go in, hand in a flyer, okay, get flyers and business cards made up. Again, have your logo on your business card and flyer. Really cheap things are like your Vistaprint. Like, you can get like 100 business cards for nothing nowadays. Like, it's so inexpensive now to what it used to be, and there's so much competition out there, especially like with Fiverr and all these different freelancers from all over the world. So everything is becoming really not cheap, but definitely cheaper than what it used to be. So the first thing I would say invest in is the logo and design. Okay, if you're going to do a bit of traditional marketing, business cards just with your email and your company name and social media handles, perhaps, if you haven't built a website, and maybe flyers if you want to hand them out to local businesses or local language centers. If you can think of any kind of community groups that have non-native speakers, you can advertise like that there, and your own social media presence will be a great start. Another kind of way I found that I got students on board with starting up an online lesson is, and I still do it to this day because I think it works like a dream, I give every student a 30-minute free trial. Okay, offer them a free lesson, get them on board. And this lesson can be used for needs analysis. Say, we're going to have you a 30-minute free lesson, and then you can decide if you want to move forward with Everywhere English. I'm just using Everywhere English now because that's the name of my own company. So I will say 30 minutes, because once you have them on Skype or Zoom, and once you have them in that 30 minutes needs analysis, that's 90% of the battle. It's sold then. This student has come on, spent their time to go on and get a free trial to talk about whether lessons are for them or not. Definitely a fantastic way, a great incentive to get students on board. So yeah, offer them a 30-minute free lesson. And if you don't have a website, you can put that on your Facebook, you can put that on your LinkedIn, you can put that on your flyers, 30-minute free trial, before you kind of move forward. And in this 30-minute free trial, what I always do is I talk with them and I ask them, I do my own little needs analysis, with which most of you probably do already with students. And I'll also run through the packages that I offer with my business and ask them which one they think is best for them. Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, so needs analysis and student profile forms are something you can make up on Google Drive, have them stored on your professional Gmail, and you can send them out to students. And they fill that in, you have your 30-minute free trial. Okay, so kind of going a step further, as I said, create a logo or brand on Fiverr. We ran through that. Business cards on Vistaprint. We've ran through that. Student referrals. So if you have any students at all right now, and you know anybody that you're teaching, or you have kind of somebody you know, tell them that they will get a free lesson as an incentive. They will get a free lesson if they bring somebody to your company. Okay, so anybody you're teaching now saying, I'm offering you a free lesson. It's kind of like an affiliate system, but there's nothing complicated about it. Your student will get a free lesson if they bring somebody to you. Okay, it's another way, and you'd be surprised because you might have one girl who you're teaching with ages, and she obviously, if she's from any non-native speaking country, she's obviously going to have friends, a large amount of friends who are non-native speaking. So if she brought 5 of her friends there, then she gets 5 free lessons. Okay, so that's another way to bring students onto your platform or to your website or to your company. Eventually, once you've done this, create your own website. Nowadays, guys, I paid for mine because I'm not tech savvy back in 2015 or whenever, 2015. On Fiverr, they're quite good, but Shopify is amazing. I don't know if any of you have experience with Shopify or Wix. It is so simple nowadays. Now, I don't want to sound ignorant. It's not that easy. It's easy when you know how to do it. But out of all the website building platforms, I would suggest Shopify or Wix. They are easiest ones to navigate and ones to build a website on. There is a charge on those, like you have to pay like €7 a month to keep your website running and things like that. If you want to go your step further building your website, and then you can go into more marketing. But okay, Paul, thank you. Rocket Cake is another. I've never heard of Rocket Cake. My own website is WordPress. But apparently I've actually heard that WordPress is quite difficult, and there's no point actually building a website on WordPress if it's not complicated. I didn't know that when I set mine up, but that's what people say. YouTube, lads, is a fantastic resource. Literally type into YouTube, building WordPress website, building Shopify website, and there's so many free tutorials on how to build a website. And obviously it's time consuming, but so worth it if you want to save a bit of money on creating your own website. Yeah. Joanna, Squarespace. Yeah, I've heard about Squarespace. They're quite good as well. So thanks for that, Joanna. So yeah, the next step after you've done all that and you've built your kind of presence is create your own website. Obviously, you're putting your logo and everything in this website, okay? Another kind of way is as well as post your website, then join all the, if you have a social media page yourself on Facebook, you know, all these groups like non-native speaking groups, English learning groups, I want to learn English groups. Just type into groups on Facebook, English learning, post your website onto these forums. It's free marketing. So just say, I'm giving English lessons, check out my website here. And that's free. You can post your website once it's built, or your Facebook business page, on any forum like Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, all these kind of groups. Post your stuff there. It's all free, and just say that you're offering a 30-minute free trial. Come to my website. So they come onto your website, okay? The next thing I would do, it only costs €50, is register your company. It's up to yourself how you want to work things. But with the CRO in Ireland, I don't know if people are doing it outside of Ireland, but for Ireland here, the company registration is only €50 to register your business name. And it's just so worth it because you don't get in trouble for anything. And it's €50. You can register it. It's quite, I think it does take a while for it to come to your address once you register. But yeah, €50, you sign up online, you fill in your details, and they send you your registration number. So you're a registered company. Tax, I'm not an accountant, so I don't know much about it. I don't want to give any misinformation, but I do want to let you know on a personal level that when I set mine up, once you set your company, if it's a business idea, you don't have to pay tax for 2 years. Okay, I didn't pay tax for 2 years. After 2 years, I had to pay tax because in Ireland now, so disclaimer, please look this up yourself because things could have changed by the time from 5 years ago. Okay. But when I did it, a business idea, if you don't make more than, I think it's 24, 25 grand, because it's an idea a year, you don't have to pay tax. So just look into that as well. And Joanna, thanks for that. It's free in the UK, by the way. Interesting. To register your company is free in the UK. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Okay. So the next thing, once you've created your social media presence, you've created your company, you've created your logo, and you have your website. You have students coming to your page. They do their 30-minute free trial on Zoom with you. How do they pay for the lessons? Okay, how do they get there, and how does it work? PayPal. I use PayPal. A PayPal business account is free, so go for PayPal again. Obviously, keep all your accounts and finance separate when you're starting out. It gets messy. Don't use your personal PayPal account, even if you say, oh, it's only for 1 or 2 lessons, they can pay me, my personal account is grand. Just don't go there. It bite you in the ass once you start to grow. So just set up a free PayPal business account. And that's perfect. It's very easy to actually, you can install the PayPal into your website. Shopify have that plugin already there. Wix have that. Squarespace have that. But yeah, it's up to yourselves. Other payments. Okay. Shandim, you're saying in Sri Lanka, my country, we don't have PayPal. Okay, interesting. There is another equivalent to PayPal. I can't think of the name off the top of my head now. I'm going to just quickly Google it there. Oh God, what is not the name of the platform? No, it's not the one I'm looking for. Yes, that's the one I'm looking for. It's called Square. I heard they're very good. Now, Megan, does WordPress have a plugin? Yes, they do. So for Shandima, check out Square, and also TransferWise have, TransferWise have a professional account as well. And Stripe is worth looking at, but I'm sure you have to pay for Stripe, Baron. So if you want to spend a bit of money, great. Now, I just know that the PayPal business account is free. I don't know about TransferWise and Stripe for the cost of it, but they're options to check out and research. Okay. Anything else I need to say here? Yeah, so as I said, set up everything properly and right from the start. It's so worth it in the end, you know. And even if it feels a bit silly at the start that you're doing all these kind of steps for no reason, if you have one student, it's definitely worth it. So right now, let's say you have your logo, your social media presence, and say for argument's sake, you have your website set up and you have your PayPal installed and you have your Stripe installed so people can pay and come to your lesson. We've done all that now. We've brought a few students organically from referral, from sharing in your own kind of personal life. You've brought a couple of students, you've asked students to ask referrals and things like that. Now, the next thing what you can do is start looking at ways of marketing, which is another thing, but a Mailchimp account, guys, you know, when we all get newsletters from Misguided and Groupon and even from ourselves here of giving, when you want to give kind of information about content or things that you have done, Mailchimp, you can set up an account for free. Okay, Mailchimp is another one. And I would always suggest at the start, send out a Mailchimp every week. Okay, this doesn't have to be about attracting people to your lessons. This can be about really good content that you want your learners to know. Okay, blogs, look at starting blogs and SEO, guys. It's the way forward now, and that's how everybody is finding work nowadays. Give people information, valuable information, and students will actually come to you. Things like top tips for learning English at home. Why should I learn English? All these type of things. If you think about it, if you were a non-native speaker and you're learning, we want to learn Italian, okay? What information do we want to know? Get that out to people. So Mailchimp is free to set up. You can learn how to do a Mailchimp. Mailchimp have fantastic tutorials. If you don't feel like doing all this marketing content, you can pay people on Fiverr. They charge 10 or 20 euro to send out newsletters. Again, very inexpensive, but it's a great way to get people to give out content and things like that. Just another thing on SEO while I'm thinking about it in my head. If you sign up for your G Suite, like I said before, for a Gmail and you're paying for the professional version, then they actually give you 75 euro worth free advertisements if you set up for them. So Google Ads, they give you $75 free. So, and they will actually also give you a call. A Google expert will give you a call for free and tell you what's the best way to start with Google Ads, what's the best way to kind of target your niche. And we all know what Google Ads are. Google Ads are when you're scrolling through a website and all these ads pop up. You want your website to pop up too. This is how you start. Google Adwords. But Google are actually really good, and people don't know about the kind of free resources they give, and kind of really help. Like if you actually ring a helpline, they'll run through it with you. They'll get a professional. If you've signed up, if you're paying for a service, they will help you, which is great. So yeah, I've definitely blabbed on for a long while there. So I'm just going to say one thing as well, actually, is if you haven't, if you're looking to kind of, if you're somebody who hasn't done any of this and kind of really unfamiliar with online teaching itself, I would suggest kind of, if you haven't done it already, our 10-hour teaching English course is really good, the virtual course. And it just kind of gives you an idea of what it's like to teach online. So you're the student essentially, and it just kind of gives you the opposite. You're in their shoes, you know how it works, you know what works best. So if you haven't done that, highly recommend that. And I also recommend, if you're not tech savvy or whatever you want to say, or somebody who isn't so used to working online, I would suggest our 30-hour teaching English online course, because that actually goes through using Zoom, using Skype, like all the technicality stuff, not the kind of the English part, but really the technicalities of teaching English online. So if you're somebody who feels a little bit unfamiliar with that, great course to do as well. Okay, so I'm going to run through a couple of questions here, and I'm going to go back through because I know I missed a few, and kind of, so everybody, if anybody has any questions, you can start popping them in there. So Aaron, I'm thinking of setting up an online platform of pre-recorded lessons where students can go at their own pace. Have you come across of many examples of this before, and have they been successful? And all of the online lessons are live. Well, Aaron, that's a fantastic money, because that's passive. That's passive money. You're making money while you sleep there. It's not you actively doing the work. So 100% go for it if you can. For me, like, I look at that and it's a lot of work, but if you're doing it from the start and you put the effort in, it'll be so worth your time. You can do, there's another website, it's creating an online course for free. What I would do is, again, sign up, check out your competition. If you can at all, pay to sign up. So type into Google now and say, learning English pre-recorded classes. Okay, see what websites come up, see the way it's laid out, check what's going on, check the modules, do that in your own way, but just check out the competition. I would just say for that, make sure that all your videos are really kind of top notch. Like, for example, you see me now, even behind my background now here, we have the logo on the other side. It's a mirror effect. We have the logo TEFL.ie up there, and I have my name and my email and my website. Something like that is just adding a virtual background to Zoom. When you're doing these pre-recorded classes, make sure that's behind you. It gives you, it's just so much better than having a cat behind you, or your kitchen behind you. It's just so much better. So even things like that with your pre-recorded lessons. Aaron, if that is your plan, I would suggest investing in a good lab camera and a good microphone, because there's nothing worse than kind of a lesson that doesn't look top class, when you're paying for it. So yeah, they would be my pointers for you. But yes, Aaron, 100% passive income is the way to go. Melissa, how does it work with the taxes? like, I don't know. It depends on, like, I log my own tax every year. People do it in different ways. So I would just maybe, there is no harm, absolutely no harm in ringing an accountant, sitting down with them for an hour and figuring out the best way and the cheapest way for you and the most beneficial way. What a lot of people do, and especially as Irish people, I feel like we never ring and ask questions. There is no harm in ringing an accountant and asking those questions before you get into it all. Niamh, I'm going for a mortgage next year, so just wondering if anyone has experience with applying for a mortgage as a self-employed English teacher. Funny you're saying that because I'm actually in the middle of buying a house myself. Um, yeah, it's not a great way to go. I'm not gonna lie. Banks love 9 to 5 English or steady income. They don't love self-employed applicants. So my advice to you there, Niamh, is if you really want to go for the mortgage and you have a normal, like if you have a day-to-day job, keep that going and maybe start your business on the side and keep that until you get the mortgage approved, because it's just it's not, people don't love it. Banks don't love it, excuse me. It's just the way they work. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest going as a self-employed English language teacher if that's what's in your, unless you're going to be making 50 grand a year. But I just think in your first year it's hard to get there, so I wouldn't suggest that. Um, okay, I'm going back over some questions here. I only have experience in another subject. I've just finished my TEFL training and I want to teach online, but no idea where to go. I want to make it my main source of income. Again, I would suggest um, applying to some online tutoring companies first, see how they work, and then kind of go yourself and start with that process. Michelle, I'm qualified and teaching, but I'm struggling with the name for my company. Um, it's hard, but there's people on Fiverr as well. And I know I keep banging on about, guys, but it's such a good website. Um, there's people on Fiverr who will do that for you. So if you just say, I want a brand, I want to create a brand with a logo, this is my aim and what I want to sell, but I need help with the brand awareness. There's people who do that for you. Because I'm so not creative. It's hard for me to do those kind of things, so I get it. So that would help. Okay, great. Do you have any recommendations for building your resource library for lessons? No, as I said, every time you create a lesson, store it on your Google Drive. You should see my Google Drive, and it's just folders. So I'd have like, I break up all the lessons. So I have, first of all, I break it down to general English, exam preparation, business English, and premium English. Then under that, I would have beginner, advanced, intermediate, upper intermediate, all in separate folders. And then I have all the different lesson plans in there. So it takes time to build your resources. Or under the exam preparation, I have IELTS, TOEIC, whatever language, CAE, CPE, BULATs, whatever exam they're taking. So if a new student comes to me and they found me through Google and they say, I want to learn and study for an exam, the TOEIC exam, I'll go into my folder and see what lessons I've already prepared. And at least you have a resource kind of built up there. But yeah, it's not fun building it up, but it's just what you have to do and get it going. And I feel like you become a better teacher from it anyway, because you're really putting in the effort. And eventually, when you all become multimillionaires with your online businesses, you'll be hiring the teachers to do the work for you. And all you're going to be doing is telling them what time to start work. So, and then you'll have all your resources already on your drive to send out to all your new employees. Okay. But what I would say is, as I said, it is worth your time. So from day one, from the first day you do a lesson, even if it's a free lesson, design your lesson plan properly, put your logo on the top, do it, don't just do it half-assed, do it really properly, and then you'll have that resource forever. And you can recycle it, give it to your future employees, all that kind of thing. Okay, have you ever heard of anyone using Twitch to teach English? Tony, I'm afraid I've actually haven't ever heard of Twitch, and that's so surprising for me because I know everything TEFL. Twitch, I've never heard of it, to be completely honest. Okay, Sarah, self-employed and looking for a mortgage, and they look for 2-3 years of income and up to 6 years to see. Oh, okay, you're just giving advice. That's great. They look for past 2 to 3 years of income. Okay, interesting. and up to 6 years so that they can rely on you to repay. Thanks, Sarah, for that. That's great. Kieran, I found a huge disparity in the cost of TEFL courses. Which do you recommend? Do you mean now doing the TEFL for yourself, like actually training as a teacher, or do you mean when people charge to non-native speakers? If you could just let me know with that one. Do you mean like hypothetically on your own website? Twitch is a streaming platform usually used for gaming or chatting. Interesting. I'll have a look into that because I didn't hear about that before, but good, interesting to know. Melissa, when you've been teaching online, have you generally worked from a course book or a number of course books which you purchase yourself? Great question, Melissa. I didn't think to cover that point, so thank you for bringing that up. Yes, it's a great way to start. Invest in a pack or a, what's the word? A brand of course books. Okay. I love English File, they're called. Now that's just me. But I love English File. And I have every curriculum book that they have. I have the student book and I have the teacher book. And it's A1 to C2. So A1 being beginner, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, and proficient. I have all the student books for each level, and I have the teacher's book, because don't forget the teacher's book because you might need the answers sometimes. So if a student comes to you and they say, you do needs analysis and they're B1, I always follow English File. Now I've built a massive resource for myself on my own library, but to start off, it's a good way. These books can be quite expensive, so I would recommend getting them secondhand, because brand new, they're actually very expensive to buy. But yeah, you could use those, that you could follow that curriculum quite easily. If you had a student who is signing up for you for 12 weeks, you could follow that exact curriculum, no problem at all. It's a great way to go. Oh, Andrew, I'm actually a seller on Fiverr. Interesting. If anyone's thinking of going down that route for finding a logo, here's a link. Guys, give Andrew some business. That's amazing, Andrew. You'll have how many people do we have on the webinar today? You'll have 49 people coming with you now for logo requests. And I hope you give them a discount, Andrew. But that is cool. That's cool. Great. Okay, any other questions here? I'm looking through. Another question. So you can message me, of course, through Fiverr to discuss anything. Great. Yeah, and that's it. Really, I think, guys. Yeah, so it's 5:15. If there's anything else, throw them in. But I do hope that information kind of helps a small bit in getting you kind of moving with starting an online business. As I said, if anybody is really kind of really wants to go for this and you don't feel like they need a bit of kind of more help on it, if you want to go onto my own website as well, I do offer courses to kind of help people start online businesses and things like that. So feel free to message me there if anybody wants a little bit more help in starting that. If you're still in the training stage, I really, really would recommend the 10-hour virtual course online through Zoom, because it really gives you a way in how you can teach one student or several students. And obviously, if you're charging for a lesson and you have 10 students for an hour and they're all paying the same amount, you're going to make so much more money. So it's a great way to get started. And teaching English online course, if you're somebody who's not the most tech savvy, check that out. Teaching English online 30-hour course, it will help. So thank you very much, guys. This will be recorded, and as always, I would absolutely love if you left us a review, because that's another thing I didn't actually mention. Online businesses are built on reviews. The more reviews you have, the more Google likes you, the more you come to the top of people's searches. So that's how SEO works, is if you have more reviews and your website is more visited, then you're going to go to the top of the search engine. So if you're typing in English lessons, your website's going to go up and up and up the more reviews you have. So for TEFL teaching, we would love if you would leave a review for us and help us grow every way as well. So, and we would love actually if you were to write a review, to actually mention the webinars, because we want to get the word out about our free webinars that we offer. Okay. So that will be great. And I'll leave a link there for a review, if you wouldn't mind. That will be great. And yeah, I can see here, hi from India, came in late to the webinar, would love to see the recording. So that will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, probably Friday or Monday. And all our webinars are actually on the YouTube channel if you want to check them out as well. Yeah, I think that's it from me, guys. So thank you all so much for attending, and I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Yeah, great. Guys, thanks a million. All right.
Thanks.